who is going to chair the valedictory session. I request our audience to kindly applaud him and welcome onto the dais. We welcome you, sir. And I also would like to take a pleasure of inviting our guest of honor, Dr. Umakant Das, Director, IRMA, onto the dais. I request you to continue applauding. And we also have a keynote speaker who is joining us online, David Dines. I also extend a warm welcome to David Dines. We are also joined by a guest speaker, Professor Khanindra Pathak. We extend a very warm welcome to you, sir. Kindly come onto the dais and occupy the seat. I also would like to request Dr. Hari Krishna Mishra to kindly come onto the dais and occupy the seat. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful conference, and we are at the end of this conference, and it's a valedictory session. And I request Dr. Gopi Chattopadhyaya to chair the entire session and begin this valedictory ceremony.
Thank you very much. Wow, what an outstanding event. Did you enjoy? Yes. So loudly, yes. Yes. So big hand to all these organizers, IRMA, and you all. The final session, if you kindly place that slide, will be by Dave Dent. Dave is very well known and good friend from Australia Asset Management Council. So we are waiting to hear from him.
Just a minute, sir. Please come.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. No, it's good.
Yeah. And also, our guest of honor is here. We'll hear from him later. Then there will be session from Professor Khanindra Pathak, and we had another guest speaker, Sadangi. He is not available because of some personal challenges, so we'll miss him. I hand it over for the next session, our keynote speaker, please.
Yeah, we'll begin with the keynote speaker. I request our keynote speaker, David Danius, to begin with the speak. He's going to brief us about the journey towards ISO 55001 certification on this valedictory ceremony. Over to you, sir.
Hello, just checking that you can hear me.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
And you have my presentation. Okay.
Yes,
thank
sir.
You. Yeah. So thank you very much for inviting me to present today. Unfortunately, I am unable to be there in person, but I hope I can add some value to your conference and continue to develop the relationship between the Asset Management Council and AMC. Asset management is a coordinated activities of people, systems and processes in managing the assets across stages of their life cycle. The journey towards 55001 certification is a major undertaking that needs to be clearly considered. The approach needs to consider what the starting point is for the organisation and what outcome is required. The journey needs to be effectively be led by people competent in asset management and understanding of the business requirements. Knowledge of the standard is important, but should not be the prime driver. Understanding asset management is the key, with the systems and processes linking the activities. Seeking compliance to the asset management system standard is the easier path to achieving conformance. This presentation will highlight the requirements and pitfalls to achieving certification in asset management. Personnel's attitude, knowledge, skills and capabilities directly influence the performance, condition and longevity of all assets. Competency in recognised asset management practice will enable the organisation to continually improve and achieve the desired objectives. Professional management of assets enables a sustainable performance of plant and equipment over the full life cycle in a regulated environment. A reliable plant is a safe site and a cost-efficient site. Systems, processes, practices and procedures that are simple, standard and replicable across the organisation will support the establishment of clear roles and responsibilities associated with the management of assets. The combination of these activities will drive the appropriate business outcomes. There are three pieces of how this fits together. The Global Forum in Maintenance and Asset Management has documented the asset management landscape and the assessor requirements that identify the competency requirements individuals need to have to be able to assess asset management. ISO has determined the asset management system requirements by 55001 and has a number of supporting artifacts. World Partners in Asset Management have developed a means of testing knowledge and understanding of asset management using the assessor requirements, the asset management landscape and the ISO 55001 standard. An asset management system impacts the whole organisation, including its stakeholders and external service providers, and can use, link or integrate many of the organisation's activities and functions that would otherwise be managed or operated in isolation. The process of establishing an asset management system requires a thorough understanding of each of its elements and the policies, plans, procedures that integrate them. The second edition of the Asset Management Landscape was published in 2014 after the issue of the 55,000 standards. Minor edits to the first edition were undertaken with the intent to align to the ISO thinking. Reality was about matching subject areas to the management system view and the linkages used to develop the assessor or auditor knowledge and understanding of asset management. A third edition is currently being developed and will hopefully be released in 18 months' time. Over its history, the Global Forum in Maintenance and Asset Management has produced many publications in the area of asset management and maintenance. As noted, the asset management landscape is the key document that's been and will continue to be the foundation. The maintenance framework is another very important document and has been recently extensively reviewed and updated. It is important that this document is considered during the rewrite in order to avoid conflict of thinking and repetition. Other important documents that relate directly to the asset management framework are the Asset Management Assessor and Auditor Specification that has been recently revised and better relates to the framework of the ISO standard, and the Asset Management System Scheme document that provides guidance on the requirements for competency of auditors and the audit process requirements. Management system standards have now been structured around similar text and format. This is lending itself to an integrated management system view, with more mature organisations now considering a single integrated system around quality, environment, health and safety, and indeed asset management. The asset management framework provides a simple, scalable structure and informs the systems and processes to run the asset management system. It is highly interrelated and will require the business to adopt and ensure vertical and horizontal alignment within the organisation. An appropriate document management system that provides intuitive and easy access to the documents is of great value in this venture. Now, using this diagram, I will move into the sections of the standard and state their intent and some of the lessons learned about the development within an organisation. In establishing or reviewing an asset management system, it is important to consider the external and internal context of the organisation, since this can significantly influence the design and scope of the system. The asset management decisions, plans and activities, both technical, financial and operational, need to be collectively enable the achievement of the organisational objectives. Ensuring that the asset management objectives are fully aligned to and consistent with the organisational goals is a critical activity in achieving this. And the organisation needs to understand how to determine the external and internal issues relevant to its purpose that could impact on its ability to achieve the outcomes of its asset management system. Stakeholders have an influence in shaping the organisational plan and hence also the asset management system. Relevant stakeholders should therefore be identified, their requirements captured and considered in the design of the asset management system. Internal and external stakeholders will be interested in certain key financial and non-financial information about assets and asset management, as this can have a significant impact on both the organisation's overall business performance and indeed their own activity. Without a clearly defined scope for an asset management system, there is a risk that the responsibilities and processes will be unclear, particularly with the interfaces with other management systems in the organisation, such as finance, environment and health and safety. The organisation needs to understand the boundaries applicable to the asset management system and indeed understand what assets are included or excluded from within the system requirements. Without a documented strategic asset management plan, there is a risk that there will be a lack of visibility and thus understanding of and consistency in translating organisational objectives to the asset management objectives and how the asset management system is used to support that undertaking. So the organisation does need to understand what the extent of documentation is available to define the asset management system and how it will be applied. It is important to understand the boundaries and interfaces and how all this fits together. Scope is influenced by the organisational structure and outsourcing arrangements, the functions and activities being undertaken, and indeed the asset portfolio itself. The SAP is a critical business document and must be aligned with the corporate business plan. Unfortunately, the SAP can become a set-and-forget style document and that fails to achieve its intent in setting the scene for the organisation on how it intends to manage the assets over its life cycle. Mapping of the objectives with the organisational strategy and then developing the metrics and KPIs to determine those objectives is a critical activity that will require focus and input from a number of stakeholders. Leadership is defined as a key driver of value realisation. It is important that ownership and accountability for the asset management system remains at a top management level. However, leadership and commitment must be demonstrated at all managerial levels of the organisation to support the development, implementation and continual improvement of the overall system. So it's important to understand what are the tangible outward signs that you see in the organisation of commitment to the asset management system shown by senior management and their actions. It is important that individuals within the organisation and externally as appropriate are aware of their role in the development, implementation and improvement of the system and have appropriate authority to deliver against these responsibilities. Top management is responsible for delivering the asset management policy and the asset management objectives and for aligning them with the organisational objectives. Leaders at all levels are involved in the planning, implementation and operation of the asset management system. Failure to engage executive support and failure of the executive to provide demonstrable leadership will result in poor implementation and sustainability of asset management within the business. Sponsorship is required and I've yet to see a successful implementation without senior leadership support. The asset management policy sets the vision and framework for asset management and therefore has important influence on the organisation's asset management systems and activities. It must be consistent with the organisational objectives, thereby establishing one of the fundamental objectives of asset management, alignment. Several uncertainties can impact on the achievement of the intended outcomes of the asset management system. effective controls need to be put in place to address the risk opportunities arising from these uncertainties and to assure that the asset management system can continue to deliver its intended outcomes. And again, the organisation needs to understand if its risk-based methodologies are consistently applied across the many asset management related functions, and if so, which one. A fundamental of asset management is to ensure, A fundamental of asset management is to ensure alignment between the organisational objectives and the technical issues, decisions and plans and activities. This is achieved by first establishing the asset management objectives aligned with the organisational ones and then planning to achieve the outcomes. The organisation needs to understand whether it has documented the asset management objectives of relevant functions and levels to align with and enable the achievement of these goals. The objectives need to be clearly stated and applicable throughout the levels of the organisation. Balanced scorecards and visual management centres are links to this end, and the objectives and the means to achieve them must be measurable. Asset management planning is a vital step in determining the life cycle activities to achieve the outcomes, and hence robust processes must be established for their development. The development of the asset management plans are important, and the asset management plans should be defined in documented information at a level of detail that is appropriate to the size and complexity of the organisation and the asset portfolio within the scope of the asset management system. For some smaller organisations, the SAP and the asset management plans can be a single piece of documented information. However, the time horizon for each plan may require separate documents. The maximum benefit of an asset management plan is achieved with the preparation of a plan in-house, using external specialists to lead or support the internal authors. Determining and documenting key definitions and terminology as part of the overall program and build a common understanding is an important aspect of this work. And ownership of the asset management plans needs to be understood, agreed and documented. It is the content of the asset management plan that adds the value, not the document itself. The document merely provides a ready reference point to understand the asset base. To identify any resourcing gaps during the development and implementation of the system, the organisation should determine the required resources to deliver the asset management objectives and the asset management plans. Culture is very important. It is the collective thinking of the attitude of an organisation, and it needs to be aligned with the outcomes of the asset management system to support its success. There is no one right organisational design. Be aware that the requirements of 55001 organisational design just needs to ensure that roles and responsibilities are clear. To ensure that the asset management objectives and asset management plans are delivered successfully, competency and its maintenance within the asset management system should be addressed at all levels of the organisation in a way that ensures alignment between the roles and levels that is not just for those to be considered asset management. And the organisation should understand how it specifies the necessary training and skills and development of people to ensure that people are competent to deliver asset management across the entire organisation. To ensure that the asset management objectives and the plans are successfully delivered, persons including staff, contractors, internal and external service providers and suppliers that are working under the organisation's control should have an appropriate awareness of the organisation's asset management systems and activities. When people are not aware of what is going on or what needs to be done, they will do their own thing. Failure to harness the energy and enthusiasm in employees will result in disengagement and problems for the implementation and development of asset management. It is important that competency in asset management is either recruited, developed and then utilised within an organisation. This will assist in developing a culture that is used to the language and approach whilst having the technical competence in its application. To ensure the appropriate awareness, asset management activities carried out by the organisation need to be communicated to relevant stakeholders periodically in a coordinated manner as an integral part of the organisation's asset management activity and overarching system. And the organisation should ask itself how they've determined the internal and external communication requirements related to the asset management system and how they actually communicate to their external stakeholders. Communication is directly linked to the stakeholder engagement plan. And the key lesson there is that clear communication with the workforce must be developed and maintained. And this will be based on why the work must be done as part of the overall asset management program. To determine information needs related to its assets, asset management and its asset management system, the organisation needs a systematic approach to identify the necessary asset information and establish an appropriate information repositories. It needs to understand what data should be collected to feed the measurement of asset management objectives and how the organisation can be assured that that data is accurate and will cover off all of the objectives. This is about as much of reviewing the amount of data and information that is gathered rather than ever increasing it. Asset management is a key success factor in supporting information management is a key success factor in supporting asset management and driving continual improvement. Unfortunately, the value of data and information and the systems that support it are often underestimated. An effective CMMS system is a core requirement for the success of maintenance management within the asset management system and significantly influences the overall outcomes. The system needs to be fit for purpose and user-friendly. For an asset management system to be effective, the organisation needs to determine what information it needs in order to ensure that activities can be controlled and that it has evidence on what has taken place. It also needs to make sure that documentation is identifiable and in a format which can be tracked and ensure that the people using it have the current and valid version so that no mistakes cannot be made in using outdated information. Processes need to be developed to control the implementation of asset management plans and actions to address the risks, opportunities and non-conformities, or their effective delivery cannot be assured. It is important that adequate controls and assurance arrangements are fully implemented for the effective delivery of activities and managing the associated risks. So the organisation needs to know how the information from the asset management plan feeds into standard corporate processes for delivering work, such as project management, maintenance work orders, and engineering investigation. The organisation should establish operational planning and control processes that identify who is responsible for each process and how the defined activities should be performed, including consideration of how risks arising during implementation of the activities can be identified and managed. Internal or external changes affecting assets, the asset management or the asset management system can impact on the organisation's ability to achieve its asset management outcome and hence should be robustly managed. The organisation needs to understand how risks associated with any planned or unplanned change that can have an impact on the achievement of the outcomes are assessed and managed before that change is implemented. Risks associated with changes in assets, facilities, asset management practices, activities and the asset management system processes or in the structure of the organisation should be evaluated and managed to ensure that the integrity of the asset management system is maintained and risks arising from those changes remain at an acceptable level. Traditionally, management of change is not done very well. Everyone acknowledges that it's necessary, few apply it with rigour and discipline. When an organisation outsources activities or processes that can have an influence on the achievement of the asset management objectives, it is essential that the processes by which to control and manage those outsourced activities are properly considered and integrated into the asset management system in order to provide assurance that such risks are being managed. When deciding to outsource those activities, who is best suited to retain and manage the identified risks need to be considered. For example, activities that can cause damage to the organisational reputation generate high risks and should be retained and not outsourced. The transparency and performance of outsourced activities should be subject to regular performance. In monitoring the performance of assets, asset management and the asset management system, it provides information for assurance activities and how to effectively govern the organisation and opportunities for improvement of the asset management system. Only collecting and monitoring data and information is unlikely to provide by itself an adequate level of understanding. It needs to be further processed by the appropriate analysis and evaluation. The old adage of you cannot control what you cannot measure holds true here. However, care must be taken on what is chosen as key measures of performance to drive the right behaviour and get the right outcome. Metrics and KPIs should relate to the asset management objectives, and caution needs to be taken about having too many measures. Internal audits can be the most effective mechanism to evaluate aspects of the performance of the asset management system for compliance with the requirements and identifying non-conformities, potential non-conformities and opportunities for improvement. It is important that top management shows leadership in ensuring that the adequate periodic review of the suitability, adequacy and effectiveness of the asset management system. It is only with the engagement of management at this level that there will be sufficient authority to make decisions which will require more significant change or improvement to the asset management system. The use of the internal management review process should be a key part of the continuous improvement activity for an organisation. Management review is often overlooked and confined to an annual process. It is important, however, it is an important tool to provide demonstrable senior management engagement and leadership. And management review consisting of regular reviews of asset management practices and procedures as they are developed to monitor the effectiveness of ensuring the assets continue to be aligned with the strategic objectives is a key function. And it should be noted that these management reviews can be managed by specific asset management committees as well, rather than a gathering of senior management. Failure to adequately respond to a non-conformity or incident to control the consequences that have potential to expose an organisation to an unwanted business impact. If the impact on stakeholders is significant, this can result in detrimental reputational impact to the organisation. Identifying and preventing potential failures of assets or asset systems can enable an organisation to avoid actual failures and thus exposure to their consequences, such as an inability to achieve their outcomes. And from a continual improvement point of view, there's usually an expectation from stakeholders that an organisation continually improve their asset management so they can continue to deliver increased value. Continual improvement should be regarded as an ongoing iterative activity with the ultimate aim of delivering the organisational objectives. Note the reference here when we talk about continual improvement in assets, asset management and the asset management system. So the certification process, should you choose to go down that path, how does that work? You have a gap analysis, which is the identification of the shortfalls of requirements, and this may be conducted by a third party or another organisation other than the certification body. You have a stage 1 audit, which is a documentation review and also checks on the preparedness for the certification audit or stage 2. Stage 2, which includes the findings of stage 1, is the actual certification audit and must be conducted within 6 months of stage 1. And then you have annual surveillance audits, which leads to the recertification audit in the 3rd year. There is ISO guidance on the competency of requirements of certification bodies and that of auditors. This is known as ISO 17002-1. Within Australia, in conjunction with our national accreditation body, we developed an asset management system scheme requirement on bodies providing audit and certification of management systems. This sets down the requirements for certification bodies conducting audits and certification of asset management systems to 55001 and supplements the requirements of 17002-1. The Global Forum of Asset Management took this JASAX document and revised it to be more generic and applicable to the international level, and this was done in consultation with a number of accreditation bodies around the world. I've mentioned the assessor specification previously. Following the release of 55,000 standard and being informed by 17021 that I just discussed, the Global Forum developed an assessor specification. This document was designed to provide the competency specification for a 55001 asset management system assessor or auditor The intent of this document was to provide an understanding of the competency requirement against 55,000 standard and that of asset management as documented in the landscape. Many of you would be aware of the IRMA certification. This was specifically developed to provide a means of testing this level of understanding to ensure people could demonstrate this competency. World Partners in Asset Management was created to develop and promote the IRMA certification scheme based on the assessor specification. It is a worldwide partnership established in 2014 by a group of non-profit professional organisations. The IRMA certification is now available in 5 languages and is being sat in 41 countries around the world. And indeed the certificate now is further integrated into a broader range of personal competency certifications. So that concludes my presentation. I hope that was of value. I'm not sure if I have time for questions, but I'm more than happy to take some. Gopi.
Sure. Thank you. Give a big hand. Outstanding overview of the ISO 55000, how it can be applicable, and the certification whole world is embracing. And we are fortunate that we have Dave Daines, who was the team members in that development and also in terms of the review. We have some time, Dave, because one of the speakers somehow could not manage to come. So I'll ask the audience, please, when you are asking the question, introduce yourself and ask the question, and then Dave will be answering. So there is one question, okay? Dr. Harpreet Kandra, so asking some question. If it is clear, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll repeat. Dave, thank you.
Hi Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It's breaking up a little bit, so I'll do my best.
Okay. Dave, my name is Harpreet and I'm an academic at Federation University, Australia. And I'm wearing my cap as a community volunteer as well. A lot of time, very small community organizations would, be very keen to implement, ISO.
I can't hear, sorry.
Okay.
Can I
so,
compare it?
yeah, can you please?
Put it in the chat.
Yeah. So what is asking about the community assets? Please. go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so in my role as a community volunteer, I come across a lot of organizations who want to implement ISO standards, and these communities have have a few assets which do not have proper ownership because of being a community organization. Is there a possibility to to merge a few standards like the ISO 55000 and ISO 14000 and ISO 9000, so that for these community organizations run by volunteers, it gets a little easier for them to be able to get the best of all of these standards and do things in a more cost effective and efficient way? Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent question. And that can be applicable to rural and regional communities, Dave, because here the theme was rural and regional assets. And we have been hearing that it becomes difficult to get the expertise and also to implement. So what Harpreet has told and we have heard during this conference, and as Asset Management Council, one of the leading professional bodies, might be able to think how we can help. Comment from you, please.
Yes, so yes, the combination of the other management systems, I guess ISO has deliberately developed the management system standard around the same structure. So as I touched on in the presentation, each of the elements, so 4 through to 10, are the same for all the management system standards. Now the wording is very similar, but obviously each particular standard has its own particular intent. But the whole purpose of that is to lend itself to an integrated management system view. Now, what we see is that organisations on their maturity have quite strong quality and environmental and health and safety systems in place, and then they try and add asset management to it, and they take a view that they just sort of bolt it on rather than integrate it. So they use word substitution and don't really integrate or understand the difference between the management of physical assets or intangible assets in that environment. But there are organisations, as I mentioned, that have integrated quality and asset management and are certified for both. And indeed, the Asset Management Council is working with our accreditation body, JASANS, to develop a bit further how businesses can integrate those management systems and understand the maturity of where they are on that journey. So, in short, yes, we are aware of it, and I think it's very much a move to deliver that outcome.
That's great. Thanks a lot, because see, this conference has put the future direction, how they can use it. Like, as a practitioner and academic, I know that in addition to that, some other things related to health and safety, related to risk, ISO 31000, and those things, even at the high level, I understand it is difficult. We are talking about alignment and integration for the assurance. At least high level, that can be done, and that is a good question from this conference, and you can take it forward definitely. Thanks a lot. Any other question or comments from the audience? Listen.
Question.
Yeah, please introduce yourself and then ask the question so that easily understood. Thank you.
I'm Dr. V. Sendil, Associate Professor, Anand School of Madurai. So my question, during your presentation, you say something related to big data and asset management. Can you give a specific example so that we can get a better clarity to understand how both are connected?
All right. So you can give some of the examples what are happening in that space. I think that will be useful within that time constraint. But once again, that itself may be one area of research and a conference itself. But Dave, time is short. Try to explain, and maybe some example will be helpful. Back to you.
Yes, I do understand the question, I think, Gopi. So, in the existing management standard, the 2014 version, we included information management in there as an extra clause. And if you look at all the other management system standards, there talks about documented information, but the asset management system standard is the only one that talks about information management. The intent of including that clause at the time was the awareness of the evolving digital world and the importance of data as an asset or information as an asset. But we tried to write it fairly broadly, just almost to get a placeholder in there so that we could develop that later on. Now, as we speak, the 55001 document is being reviewed, and there is a special working group looking entirely at the data and information and how that fits together. And I actually have an ISO meeting tonight where we are going through trying to understand the clarity around the definitions between data and information and how they fit together, and what does that mean from a management system perspective. Okay? We are also rewriting, the Global Forum is rewriting the asset management landscape, as I said, and I'm the project lead for that work. And that will also include quite a bit more information, I would suggest, on data and information management that will inform the world on a better direction in that space.
That's great. Thank you. So that gives that clear indication. Yes, it is acknowledged at the high level, and that area is moving so fast. So working groups are working on that, how to embrace that and apply in a broad scale. All right, great. Two good questions. Any other question from the audience? Because that area may not be exactly in your domain, but no question is a silly question you ask. There can be silly answer, but no question is silly question. So please ask. And we have that pleasure because one speaker did not come. That is definitely not good. But sometimes it is a boon in disguise that we have a little bit of time in this important area where this university, this institute is in that rural and regional space. They are trying to embrace those things and helping that huge community. So any question from the students, please, because you are the future generation and you are the future leaders. So ask the question. Any question? People might be shy. I'm asking one question. I mean, now, listen, we understand this ISO 55000 predominantly for the physical assets. I was in the that mind rehabilitation forum, and then voice is becoming loud and clear, and also in this conference sometimes there are social assets, rural places. Even people are asking, like the First Nation and here also, there are spiritual values and how those things can be embraced, those intangibles. They are telling you are talking about risk. What's about the uncertainties? We don't have the data. We do not know exactly what are the issues, what are the risks, and what will be the future expectation of the communities. The expectation is changing, isn't it? How to embrace those things, those uncertainties and those intangibles, because we are reasonably well in the physical assets and also in that tangible parts, and also when there is a risk, there is some data. Can you please look into that? I understand this question, we do not get answer right now because that is a difficult question. Everybody is trying to look into that in terms of ESG and other areas. So you have worked a lot in the mining sector. So how to start that dialogue and how to address those communities' concerns and their expectations? Thank you.
Thanks, Kobe. Look, I think, again, it's a maturity of thinking. When we originally wrote 55,000 standard, which was when we started in 2011, so it's 10 years ago, we sort of, it was focused on physical assets because everyone understood it. But we did write in there non-physical assets. And with the intention of being sort of brand and systems and stuff like that. But in all honesty, nobody really took that on. It was always related to physical. But what I've seen in recent years is organisations are moving to certify their systems. So Rio has certified their body of knowledge. And I'm auditing, I'm doing some work with the Department of Transport on their asset management system in terms of certifying that system and the body of knowledge that sits within that. So that falls into the non-physical asset boundary. I've also audited organisations that have asset management plans for their brand and their people. Now, treating people as an asset, interestingly, starts all sorts of debate around whether they're assets or, and so on, should they be treated as such. But notwithstanding that, they have an asset management plan for their people in terms of how do they manage their development and career opportunities within the organisation. So, and that's a fairly mature organisation. So I think you will see in the future, and we are talking about data as an asset or information as an asset, how do you manage that? So the standard is broad enough to deal with it. You just got to really apply the thinking that's in there and say, okay, so when it says this, it talks about stakeholders. Who's the stakeholders of, data and information? So it's really applying in that broader thinking. But I think the natural tendency is to slip back to the physical asset. But as we move forward, we talk about digital assets and so on and so forth, then it's how do you manage that whole sphere of information going forward. And I think, the opportunity then starts to align the cyber security management system standard with an asset management system standard. because you're starting to interface at that level.
That's great. Thank you. So, world is moving towards that. There is one question. Great. You can come here, please. No. You come here, take the stage, because here it will be loud and clear and you'll be visible. So, we have our next generation assets, I call it that in spite of all these things, it is the people. So, ask your question. Introduce yourself first. Yeah.
Hello sir, my name is Devam Tripathi. I am a PRM 43 student. Thank you for your valuable sharing of the information. My question is, when we see asset is for the purpose of usage. We use the asset for our benefit. But now when sir has talked about the social asset, the people asset, the natural asset, how do we see it? Do we use it for our own purpose or just to safeguard them when they are no use? Thank you.
That's a great question. I'll repeat once again. Physical asset.
Can you just proceed that? I just missed some of it.
Yeah, no, physical assets, that is they understood. Then there was a question in my session with the context of the India. What is the most important asset? And I told that it is the people, because they can think, they can create, they can add the value and the knowledge. The world is going towards the knowledge driven. So he's asking you that hard question, how we embrace that one. Like same thing, even in Australia, the gaps with the first generation and other parts, there is a gap. How to reduce those things through the knowledge, through the skills and those things. So can you please, I understand time is short, we have the next session to start. Quickly, how related to the human assets, the value we are talking about, that is how to retain the value and realize the value of this entire human asset. So,
Okay.
thank you.
So let me answer that maybe so you saw that last slide that I had up and the first one, which showed people, process and the activity. Okay, so we talked about people, we talked about asset management through the asset management landscape and the system, the ISO system that ties all that together. So I think very much we're looking at the people and the capability side of that and how do we develop that capability from an asset management perspective. I'm talking now.
Sure.
So there's a number of actions there that we know that we need competent people to manage assets going forward within the structure of the asset management system. So the saying that we always abide by is people do asset management. Asset management is an activity. You need people to do that activity, and you need to be able to develop, train, develop, and manage those people to be able to do that. And if you wanted to, you could apply the asset management system to managing people, but it's integral in that, because people are in there as an integral part of that. It talks about competency, awareness, communication, and stakeholders. So that's all people-related activities.
Sure, that's great. Thank you very much. Give a big hand.
So thank you.
Thank you. Outstanding session. And next one is by Professor Kaninda Pathak. I know him personally. He is Dean in IIT Kharagpur in terms of infrastructures as well as in the mining sector. So floor is yours for sharing some of the knowledge which can be useful and it can be adapted to the different sector. Like right now in the asset management, you are taking back that message that it can be applied not only the physical assets, the human assets, and the societies and the communities, rural and regional. Thank you. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Gopi. It is after Dev Dine's speaking on asset management, I have nothing to speak. I think that makes things very comfortable for me. So I wanted that exactly I will be talking to the students. So here, may I know that which year students are here? All first year and second year, all pre-final and final year. So what I understand here, that I am standing in front of a multidisciplinary experts or experts of many disciplines. Am I right? How many are there from chemistry? How many from civil engineering? How many from geography? How many from economics? How many from engineering? How many from non-engineering? How many from non-science, arts background? Yes, so all are here. So very पहले मैं अंग्रेजी में उतना अच्छा नहीं हूँ. So will you mind if I in between थोड़ा सा हिंदी में भी बात करता हूँ? Because I don't know very good English. But let me try. I will be speaking few things on. Let me put a PPT because nowadays without PPT हम लोग बोलते नहीं हैं. So first thing may I ask you that at least so this is the, I think, last lecture of this conference, am I right? So everybody fatigued. We have been discussing here a lot of things on the asset management and rural development. So many things have come over there. So let me put it in the presentation mode. So I am asked to talk about sustainable development and rural assets, challenges and requirements. I do not know practically. Please excuse me. Many of the terminology, इसका क्या माने बनता है मैं कभी जानता नहीं हूँ. लेकिन sustainable मतलब क्या समझते हैं आप लोग? जो चलेगा, जो आज के नहीं मेरे next generation भी चलना चाहिए. So that means, and then development का माने क्या है? Development, can development be static? It says some dynamism is there. So that means when we want to do some development and then there is certain things, assets and rural. Now that what is rural and what is urban? So we talked about the rural sustainability. हमको गांव को गांव बना करके रखना है. Are you happy with that? Now one thing is there. I always tell हम लोग को शहर को गांव बनाना है. हम लोग exactly in the 50s and 60s, a new department came in the engineering colleges called architecture and city planning, and from that last 70 years we have developed a lot of towns and things like that. And then whenever you go abroad in some cities and then when you go in Indian cities, every day we get a jungle of concrete, and in that we want to a quality of life in search of a better life and development. People come गांव से शहर आते हैं, आकर के कहाँ रहता है? मच्छर के नीचे और नाली के बगल में एक छोटा सा गुप्ती बना करके वहाँ रहते हैं. Have you seen some of this in any of the cities? So that's why I sometimes tell that urbanization is a wrong word that got exactly in India. We needed exactly a ruralization, which were of course a dream was there, that when Bunyadi Shiksha was there in our education system, along with the Bunyadi, that basic Shiksha, हम लोग का basic that ruralization got placed. In once, long back, about 10-12 years ago, I was giving one lecture on ruralization, but there were a lot of controversy. Now, what is a holistic approach of continuing provisioning of daily basic needs of rural populations. Exactly, if a development will have to be there, what are the things required? Reliable public utilities, आप पूछिएगा public utility क्या है? Affordable technical support, वहाँ आपका बाढ़ आती है, सूखा आते हैं, there is also storm आ जाते हैं, then technical support आपको देना है. That is your how exactly the raw materials available in the villages, how it can make a better shelter, how in the agriculture we can do a better way. अच्छा ये आप लोग जनक राजा का नाम सुने हैं? जनक राजा कौन थे? सीता. सीता का दूसरा नाम एक है उर्विजा. राम को उर्विजा पति कहते हैं. तो जनक राजा क्या करते थे? हल चलाते थे. जनक राजा का जो हल का कल्पना थी, और आप हम लोग अपना बचपन में जो देखे हैं वही दो बैल खींचता था. तो हम लोग का डेवलपमेंट क्या है? हम लोग का स्टैटिक डेवलपमेंट. नांगल जो है, नांगल का डिजाइन in spite of our education and all that thing, it remained almost static for thousands of years. So that means our affordable technical support government नहीं था. That system is there. Exactly how to till the farmland, we did not find any other technology. Then creation of compatible socio-economic conditions. Socio-economic condition, ये सब अंग्रेजी में बहुत सारा बोलते हैं हम लोग, लेकिन कभी कभी समझते नहीं. क्या है सामाजिक अर्थनीति? चीजें क्या है? समाज और अर्थनीति ये तो कोई अलग से अलग कर सकते हैं क्या? बिना अर्थनीति जो है, योर इकोनॉमिक्स इज नथिंग बट अ ट्रांजैक्शन. किसी ने किसको दिया और किसी ने लिया. ये बिना देना और लेना से कई भी समझ चलते हैं क्या? So that means in our society, how that giving and taking is taking place. आप लोग तो रूरल डेवलपमेंट के बारे में सोचते हैं. हमको गांव में भी वही कितना ज्यादा, कितना कम समय में कितना वॉल्यूम का ट्रांजैक्शंस कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज हम लोग का संपदा, our wealth, our development, it depends on that transactions. Then conservation and improvement of environmental status. अभी एनवायरमेंट मतलब बहुत सब सस्ते है क्या? वो हवा पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, पानी गंदा हो रहा है, खेत में वो केमिकल्स आ गया है. यही एनवायरमेंट नहीं है. एनवायरमेंट आप अपना घर में जाइए, अपना टेबल में जो पढ़ने के लिए बैठते हैं, हाथ को ऐसे लगा दीजिए. आप अभी हाथ को ऐसे देकर के ऐसा दे सकते हैं? बहुत समय नहीं कर सकते. मतलब हाउ यू आर लिविंग इन ओवर देयर. You can see that this room, it has got its own environment. We have created this environment. हम लोग यहाँ this curtain we have put it because this color is here, matching it. We have put that thing. We have created an environment. Environment is परिवेश. हम लोग यहाँ बैठने से जो परिवेश बन गया है, यहाँ आप लोग रहते हुए एक डिसिप्लिन में बैठे हुए हैं. हम यहाँ से बैठ करके एकदम लास्ट में भी वो ब्लू शर्ट को देख सकते हैं आराम से. That means एक environment अच्छा create किया है इस रूम में. So that environmental status, इसको conservation and improvement करना है. जो conservation मतलब जो मेरा पुराना था वो कितना अच्छा है. Now if you go to the villages, क्योंकि हम लोग जैसे समय जाते हैं, गांव भी बुरा होते हैं, मिट्टी भी बुरा होते हैं, पेड़ भी बुरा होते हैं. लेकिन इसको हम लोग का वो कंजर्वेशन का माने क्या है? कंजर्वेशन में जो जैसे है वैसे नहीं रहना है. हम लोग का कंजर्वेशन भी एक दूसरा ढंग से सोचना पड़ेगा. संरक्षण करना भी तो है, उसको रक्षा करके उसका सम करना. सम का मतलब बराबर करके ले आना है. आप दूसरा चीज उसमें डालिए, लेकिन उसके बाद में ये आगे जाना पड़ेगा. Am I right? थोड़ा ज्यादा शब्द बोल रहा हूँ क्या? अब लोग को सीरियस कर दिया क्या? ऐसा नहीं है. So maintenance of support to regional economics. अब पहले भी बोला, किसी ने गोपी भी बोला, हम लोग का रूरल एंड रीजनल हम ज़्यादा नाम जानते नहीं है, रूरल क्या है रीजनल नहीं जानते हैं, लेकिन हाँ हम जहाँ हैं इसका आसपास का, मैं अगर यहाँ हूँ यही मेरा रूरल है। तो आप लोग अभी सोचिए ये रूरल सस्टेनेबिलिटी जो बात कर रहे हैं, रूरल एंड अर्बन ये क्या है। अच्छा, वो पीछे जो बैकग्राउंड में डायग्राम देख रहा है ये कुछ इसके बारे में बाद में बताएंगे आपको। ये जो फार्म लर्निंग, वहाँ हम लोग जैसे आप लोगों जैसे यूथ को ले करके हम लोग जंगल बनाने का काम करते हैं, हाउ टू क्रिएट आर्टिफिशियल फॉरेस्ट। कभी आप लोग का इंटरेस्ट है तो हमने माइंस में, जहाँ खदान माइन चलने के बाद में कुछ नहीं रहता है, 30-35 साल तक कुछ नहीं था बैरन, वैसे भूमि को मैंने जंगल बनाया है। कभी आप लोग अगर चाहते हैं मैं उसके बारे में बताएंगे, लेकिन हमने बनाया है। लेकिन मैं अब देखिए तालीम मुझे नहीं है, तालीम देना पड़ेगा। एक बहुत बुजुर्ग आदमी, ही इज नाउ अबाउट 88 years old, that is he is प्रोफेसर ताकिरो मियावाकी। तो मियावाकी साहब जो है he was exactly इकोलॉजिस्ट, तो जर्मनी में पढ़े थे 60s में। उसके बाद में ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड मोर देन 6000 जगह में he has created this artificial rapid forest regeneration। उनसे थोड़ा सीख करके हमने भी खदान में देखा यही अच्छा जगह है जहाँ कर सकते हैं। We have demonstrated it over there। So जो भी है ग्रीन कमांडोज, दैट इज एग्जैक्टली आपको कैसे बॉम्बिंग करना है। क्योंकि अभी देखिए हम लोग कभी कभी सोचते थे कि परिवर्तन करना है तो ध्वंस करना है, ये सोच के बहुत लोगों ने क्या करता था, वो नक्सल वगैरह में ज्वाइन करते थे। अभी हम उसको बोलते हैं नक्सल में जो जा करके आप लोग अगर कमांडो बनते हैं, जा करके बॉम्बिंग करता है, आइए ग्रीन कमांडो बनिए एंड व्हाट विल डू, विल टीच यू हाउ टू मेक बॉम्ब, सीड बॉम्ब। एंड इस सीड बॉम्ब को कैसे हम लोग का फॉरेस्ट कैसे डेवलप होते हैं। आपका गांव का फॉरेस्ट डेवलप होता था, आजकल चिड़िया नहीं आते हैं क्योंकि आप खेत में इतना सारा फर्टिलाइजर दे दिए, बहुत पक्षियां मर गए हैं। तो अभी हम लोग का नया जमाने का क्या पक्षी है, आप जानते हैं उसका नाम क्या है, ड्रोन। अब ड्रोन से जैसे चिड़िया जैसे तख्ती करते थे, उसी ढंग से हमको वो बम, सीड बम गिराना है। That way we will be doing। and ये जो फार्म पीछे देख रहा है ये आसाम में है। Anybody from Assam here? नहीं। So they can do it over there। So what are the capital for producing rural sustainability? Capital, ये भी आप लोग इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ते हैं, जानते हैं। कैपिटल क्या है, जिससे आप बनता है। तो वो ज़्यादा पहले जो काबुली वाला सब आते थे, जानते हैं ना काबुली वाला का स्टोरी। ये लोग क्या लेके आते हैं, पैसा कैपिटल लेके आते थे, उस कैपिटल से वो लोग कैपिटल बनाते थे, कैसे करके, सूद ले करके, that is your interest, that is capital is invested for creating more। I will be taking some more time, will you have any objections or shall I stop here?
No, you have.
Okay, so I will be taking little time, देखिए थोड़ा leisurely बात करते हैं। Last session,
You have the question answer.
yeah, last session। So capitals are durable produce goods। Exactly, हमको वहाँ से और बनाना है, and that is your capital is invested, उसमें से और कैपिटल आना है ताकि ये जाना है। तो एक जो हम लोग प्लांट में होता है, एक के बाद में चेन रिएक्शंस करके निकल जाते हैं, तो सिमिलरली हम लोग कैपिटल से कैपिटल बनवाना है, एंड दैट कैपिटल विल बी क्रिएटिंग आवर ऑफ डिफरेंट कैपिटल्स इन रूरल एरियाज करके। हम लोग जब ये एसेट मैनेजमेंट का बात करते हैं, कभी मुझे मेरे मन में आता है कि इंडिया में एसेट मैनेजमेंट लाने के लिए उसका प्री रिक्विजिट क्या है। एसेट मैनेज करने के लिए हमको तो एसेट को समझना होगा क्या है। Have we done asset planning? Do we require a redeployment of our assets in a different way? Redefining the asset deployment in different sector? Unless and until that is there, वो मैनेज करने से वही हम लोग कंप्यूटराइज हो जाएंगे। जैसे कंप्यूटर में गार्बेज इन गार्बेज आउट हो जाता है, तो हम लोग अगर जो जैसे अभी हैफाजर्डली पड़ा हुआ है उसको अगर मैनेज करने जाएंगे वो हैफाजर्डी होगा, और जितना भी अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड हो वो हम लोग को सर्व नहीं कर सकते। सो इसीलिए we must know what is the prerequisite for going to the asset management, and that is exactly the asset planning and asset deployment analysis। आप लोग रूरल मैनेजमेंट करते हैं रूरल मैनेजमेंट का रूरल एसेट को कैसे रीडिप्लॉय कर सकते हैं, एसेट्स का रीअरेंजमेंट कर सकते हैं, और उसके लिए क्या जरूरी होगा, इसमें कोई लॉ बैकग्राउंड का है तो हम लोग का रेगुलेटरी डिजाइन को बहुत देखना पड़ेगा। सो अनलेस एंड अनटिल रेगुलेटरी डिजाइन ठीक नहीं होता है, अनलेस एंड अनटिल हम लोग का पॉलिटिकल विल ठीक नहीं होता है, वी कैन नॉट प्रॉपरली रीडिप्लॉय। तो इसीलिए प्लानिंग का जरूरत है। एज एन एकेडमिक व्हाट विल हैव टू डू, we'll have to find out what is the perfectness of the present system, what is the chaos coming into it. Can we do a factorial analysis of those things, that exactly which is having how much factor? Can we do have you learned how to do a structural equation, that equation modeling, so that we find out the different factors and then how they are deployed? For that, how we'll have to do, we'll have to know their spatial orientation. जब भी हम गांव का बात करते हैं, रीजन का बात करते हैं, तो क्या करते हैं, हम लोग एक पर्टिकुलर जगह में कैसे हैं, हम लोग का मेरा जो प्रोड्यूशन, मेरा जहाँ हम सेव प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है उसको हम लोग को हिमाचल से ला करके यहाँ अहमदाबाद में बेचना है। तो ये जो उसका जियो स्पेटियली हाउ इट इज डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, अनलेस एंड अनटिल वी नो दैट व्हाट इज अ स्पेटियल डाटा एनालिसिस, इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर आवर एसेट्स टू बी प्रॉपर्ली अंडरस्टूड। मैं बात सही है नहीं? हाँ, बीच बीच में आप लोग मुझे थोड़ा रुक सकते हैं, क्योंकि कभी कभी बोलता हूँ तो बोलते ही रहता हूँ, ठीक है? अच्छा, ये देखिए हम लोग का जो भारत का मानचित्र है, हम लोग का गर्व होना चाहिए कि हम लोग का ऐसा स्पेटियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है, ऐसा रिसोर्सेस है, दुनिया का कोई देश हम लोग के साथ मुकाबला कर नहीं सकता। हम लोग से बहुत ज्यादा रिसोर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है, लेकिन ऑस्ट्रेलिया का बहुत सारा एरिया है तो वहां एक भी आदमी नहीं है, दो भी है। So now what is there? Exactly, we are having people, we are having resources, लेकिन हम लोग इस पे जैसे स्पिरिचुअलिटी का बात कह रहे हैं, we thought of वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, लेकिन कभी कुटुंब भी आकर के हमको मारता है, चलिए थोड़ा सा बाद में मारो, ठीक है। हम लोग वीपर को छोड़ दिए थे अशोका के बाद में, अशोका दिखा दिया था अगर हम लोग चाहे तो पूरा दुनिया का साइंटिस्ट था बनकर के, अगर अशोका चाहते थे मंगोलिया हम लोग के अंदर में रहता, लेकिन हम लोग का गौतम बुद्धा थे। वी नो दैट एग्जैक्टली एट द एंड इट पीस प्रिवेल्स, एंड वेयर पीस इज देयर, then only the mankind and our human soul can be deployed.
No.
I'll continue for some time.
Yeah, you
want to say something?
No, I'm telling that there are the minds. Let them ask you question and answer.
I'll.
Please, thank you.
Okay. Shall I stop it over here? I should ask only the question. If you want to ask, I should. Okay. So ये स्लाइड के ऊपर में आप क्या पूछना चाहते हैं? कैपिटल जो है, दैट इज नेचुरल कैपिटल, सोशल कैपिटल, ह्यूमन कैपिटल, टेक्नोलॉजिकल कैपिटल, आप लोग किताब में पढ़ते हैं, मैं नहीं कहता हूं। ये देखिए आपका पाथवे फॉर रूरल सस्टेनेबिलिटी, इसका क्या माने? पाथवे का माने हम लोग अभी तक बोले गांव का सस्टेन करना है, तो उसके लिए हम लोग को क्या चाहिए? हम लोग को मार्केट चाहिए, क्योंकि इवन सोशल इकोनॉमी हम लोग का सोशल इकोनॉमी ड्राइविंग फोर्स। तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? Yes, any question? Somebody? So, creating market for traditional arts. Yesterday I found one very beautiful one person in one of the track, he was presenting a paper and then he was telling, he showed on his mobile phone so many beautiful ornaments with bamboo, because there was a discussions amongst that. They were telling also कपाल का जो टैप होता है ना, वो काफी छोटी होता है। पानी का जो अभी हम लोग का वाटर क्राइसिस का वाटर मीटरिंग करने के लिए अगर वाटर मीटर लगा देते हैं और उसमें वो प्राप्त कर रहे हैं, चोरी हो जाएगी। So I have given an idea, and he has agreed that he will be giving me in another 1 month. He will be coming with the prototype. हम लोग कहाँ बांस का लगाना है? हम लोग बांस से लगाएंगे. बांस से, बेम्बू से we can make this. क्योंकि ये पुराने जमाने में तो हम तो ये देखे थे, हम लोग का खेत को इरिगेशन करने के लिए बम्बू से इरिगेशन करते थे. छोटा छोटा नाव बनाना है, उधर टेप बनाना है, कौन सी बड़ी बात है? Village architect they can do it. And then to make a flow meter, अभी water metering का नाम पे the different countries they are trying, that India is a big market. Here 1.3 billion people. अगर हम लोग का पानी पिलाने के लिए वो वाटर मीटरिंग करना है, तो वाटर मीटर बिक्री करने के लिए पूरा वर्ल्ड से, अमेरिका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, कनाडा, यूरोप सब लोग यहाँ आ जाएंगे, क्योंकि इट विल बी मल्टी-million dollar बिजनेस. हमको वो सब क्यों करना है? हम एक फ्लो मीटर छोटा सा बना लेंगे, 2 बेम्बू का 20 में से रख देंगे, और वहाँ हम लोग एक छोटा सा चिप दे करके मैंने RFID से हम लोग का वो जो पब्लिक हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट का ऑफिस में पूरा चले जाएगा किसके. सो थोड़ा सा GIS इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, छोटा सा रिमोट सेंसिंग का ऐप, एंड देन रेडियो फ्रीक्वेंसी का इलेक्ट्रॉनिक आपको आइडिया आ गया होगा क्या करना है. ये रूरल डेवलपमेंट वाले आप लोग का जो है प्रोजेक्ट करना, आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट वर्क करना है, यही कीजिए कि हम लोग हाउ RFID एनेबल और क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग से एनेबल करके हाउ वी कैन मेक एब्सोल्युटली स्मॉल फ्लो मीटर थ्रू ए बेम्बू ऑपरेटेड पाइप. के एक बार चोरी हो जाता है तो दूसरा बनाने क्या है, 10 रुपए में दाम पड़ेगा. Does it work? Any questions on it? हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है? फिजिबल है या नहीं? आप लोग का मन में डाउट है. नहीं, वो पानी का वो सब है, लेकिन वो हम लोग जो है ना, वो हम लोग ही करेगा. तो हम लोग वो मीटर बिक्री करने के बाहर को नहीं देना. जो मेजर एक्सपेंडिचर हम लोग का सारी चीज हम लोग कर ही सकते हैं, तो मीटर खरीदने के लिए, चिप खरीदने के लिए क्यों बाहर जाते हैं? जैसे हम लोग का अभी आई एम टेलिंग यू, आप लोग और एक आइडिया कर सकते हैं. टेक्निकली किसी ने IIT खड़गपुर में हम लोग का जो लिफ्ट रहता है ना जंक्शन का, आप लोग का यहाँ तो अच्छा स्टाइल का लिफ्ट इतना अच्छा काम करते हैं, जहाँ वो पब्लिक टेंडरिंग करके हम लोग लगा लेते हैं. वी हैव गॉट अबाउट नंबर ऑफ लिफ्ट्स, एंड फॉर द लिफ्ट मेंटेनेंस के लिए हम लोग को लिफ्ट मेंटेनेंस करने के लिए अपना एक छोटा सा फार्म करके स्टोर नहीं कर सकते. क्यों नहीं कर सकते? ये जो कंपनी वाला लिफ्ट लगाते हैं, उसका कंट्रोल पैनल जो है उसमें इशेक लगा देते हैं, वो यहाँ माल मिलेगा नहीं. आप करने, क्योंकि हमको भी वो लोग बोलेगा इफ यू चेंज एनीथिंग ओवर देयर इट विल बी नॉट कमिंग अंडर देयर AMC, वारंटी में नहीं रहेगा. हर में जाए वारंटी, आप लोग एक्ट तोड़िए उसको, उसका अपना कंट्रोल सिस्टम निकाल करके और बाहर तो है उसको बनवा. हो सकता है या नहीं? हम लोग माइनिंग इंजीनियर, हम लोग जुगाड़ से काम करते हैं. खदान के नीचे में ना तो मीटर नहीं है, हम लोग का पाइप फट जाता है तो हम लोग झूठ से करके भी हम लोग खदान चला देते हैं. तो जुगाड़ भी करना है, लेकिन जरा हट के, थोड़ा सोच के. You think a little and then, so that means you will have to use the rural product को appreciate करना पड़ेगा. हम लोग यहाँ बहुत सारा प्लास्टिक का इससे कार्टन लगाते हैं, क्यों ना हम घास का कार्टन लगाते हैं. I can tell this is exactly, we should be user of our local products. जब मैं माइनिंग डिपार्टमेंट का HOD था, अभी भी मेरा माइनिंग डिपार्टमेंट में वो घास का पर्दा, मेरा बाद में 2 आदमी का काम खत्म हो गया, अभी भी वो है. So you think of alternative products like that. Sorry, I'll just continue. I'll finish it.
Great, great.
I'll finish it.
Time is the most valuable
And there are
asset.
many things you can do. So what exactly, how you can eradicate poverty? That is by agropreneurship, agroforestry, forest linked and forest supportive entrepreneurship. There are many things over there. I'll not run. I thought of running some video and all that thing. I'll not do. But this exactly homestead food forest. आप लोग का अगर कभी ऐसा मिलता है कि स्टूडेंट थोड़ा फ्रस्ट्रेटेड हो गया है, आप लोग आसाम जाइए. गुवाहाटी से 20 किलोमीटर दूर में एक फॉरेस्ट है, होमस्टेड फॉरेस्ट. आप इसमें समीर बोर्डोलोई नाम लिख करके गूगल सर्च करेंगे, आपको पता चलेगा. वहाँ जा करके रात में जंगल में रखिए. वी हैव क्रिएटेड ए फॉरेस्ट in which your food is available. श्री रामचंद्र जी 14 ईयर्स जंगल में था। जंगल में क्या खाते थे? कुछ खाना मिला तो मिलता था। अभी आप जंगल में जाओगे 2 दिन टिक पाओगे? तो यही है हम लोग का ड्राइव मोटिवेशन। अभी हम लोग ने उस फॉरेस्ट में काफ़ी प्रोड्यूस कर दिया है, वहाँ खा सकते हैं। ये वीडियो आप लोग देख लीजिएगा। गोपी बोल रहे हैं हमको मेरा समय नहीं है। हाउ टू गेट आइडियाज फॉर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप। आपको एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का आइडिया कहाँ से आएगा? यू प्लीज स्टार्ट डूइंग ऑब्जर्वेशन। ऑब्जर्वेशन से ही आपका एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप आता है, क्योंकि ऑब्जर्वेशन से क्रिएटिविटी आती है। अब मैं एक ऑब्जर्वेशन का बात करता हूँ। Anybody here from near भोपाल? कभी आप लोग भोपाल गए हैं? और भोपाल से अगर रास्ता में आते हैं रात को, रास्ता पे क्या मिलता है सबसे ज्यादा? रास्ता के ऊपर अब गए नहीं कभी? रात को कभी कार से जाइए या भोपाल का शहर में जाइए, पूरा कान मिलता है। आई हैव ऑब्जर्व दैट। आप भोपाल का एमपी में किसी भी शहर में जाएंगे ना, रास्ता में जाएंगे कार लेकर के, आपको रास्ता के किनारे में हर शहर में गोली में सिर्फ गाय मिलता है। Have you seen that? तो आप बोलिए, ये अगर ऑब्जर्वेशन है, इसमें से आप क्या रूरल बिजनेस करवा सकते हैं?
सर इसके लिए तो ऑलरेडी गवर्नमेंट भी सेंटर बना रही है।
सेंटर वो सब पे छोड़िए, आप गवर्नमेंट का बात छोड़िए, गवर्नमेंट जो करेगा हम लोग तो अपना करना है। आप क्या कर सकते हैं?
खिलाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट है।
अच्छा सुनिए, मैं समय नहीं है, क्योंकि आप एक वैन बनाइए, एक ऐसा वैन, उसमें आप देखिए जो रास्ता जो स्लोप है, वो स्लोप पे घास लगाइए, नेपियर ग्रास। यू नो, आई थिंक सम ऑफ यू, नेपियर ग्रास इज अ वेरी गुड। और कुछ फर्दर ग्रास लगा दीजिए, और वहाँ जगह जगह में रख करके उसमें जहाँ गाय बैल वो टट्टी करता है और उसका पेशाब करता है, आपका उसका पेशाब और गोबर को पकड़ने का एक वैन ले लीजिए। सुबह जाइए रास्ता से और पूरा उसका गोबर और गोमूत्र उसको कलेक्ट कीजिए, और उसके बाद में आप जानते हैं इसके आगे क्या क्या बिजनेस हो सकता है। सो सिमिलरली हम करेंगे। If now exactly now I have taken, because I found 135 years of barren land. तो हमने इसका महानदी कोलफील्ड संबलपुर में उसका डायरेक्टर को मैं बोला, ये मुझे दे दीजिए, मैं इसको 2 साल में ग्रीन करके उसमें मैंने सब कुछ प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, मिल्क भी।
So we can experiment
So-
after the tea.
No, we'll do you want to break or stop my presentation? I'll continue.
You just finish and then let them ask questions.
So नहीं, हम तो बीच में क्वेश्चन भी कर। Yes, please. Stray animal problem नहीं है। If that can be used as a productive uses, stray animal तो करने दीजिए, हम उसको कंट्रोल करेंगे। अब उधर ग्रासलैंड बना लेंगे तो वो थोड़ी रास्ते पे आएगा, वहाँ रहने के लिए उसको थोड़ा जैसे रास्ता में क्यों आता है? बिकॉज वो साफ सुथरा होता है, गाय भी साफ सुथरा चाहते हैं। तो इसीलिए अगर स्लोप के बगल में जहाँ ड्रेन है, उसके बगल में आप शेड बना दीजिए, वहाँ जो रहेगा पानी भी पिएगा, ये भी रहेगा। अब कहीं दूसरे जगह नहीं जाना है। उसके बाद में यू नो अबाउट द पंचगव्य, हमने पंचगव्य को लेकर के टोटल जो हेमाटाइट माइंस का, आयरन और माइंस का जो ओवरबर्डन है, वहाँ नो ऑर्गेनिक कार्बन नथिंग रहता है। अभी मैं नहीं लाया हूँ, मेरा फोटोग्राफ कभी आप लोग चाहे। विदिन 2 years हम वहाँ फॉरेस्ट बनाए थे, आदमी दूसरे से बाहर से नहीं दिखाई देते। तो मैंने करके देखते हैं, छोटा छोटा करता हूँ लेकिन ज़्यादा नहीं। एक बार करके दिखा दिया तो हम जो आई एम टेलिंग इट इज डूएबल एंड पॉसिबल। सो नेक्स्ट इज एग्जैक्टली, थोड़ा आप पूछे ना, मैं तुरंत कर देता हूँ। आप लोग को चाय पे जाना है ना अभी। If you want to go and then do a brainstorming, so you'll have to do a survey of situation analysis. अब now आपका जो है ना मोबाइल फोन, अब थोड़ा इधर एक क्वेश्चन नहीं कर रहा है, अब इसका ये QR कोड में आपका मोबाइल फोन से आप ले लीजिए। Please take what is there, you just see differentiate rural and urban। में मेरा पहला क्वेश्चन था, आप लोगों ने आंसर नहीं दिया है। तो ये बगल में एक असम का गांव है जहां लोग खेत कर रहे हैं, और ये डे बिफोर यस्टरडे का, कल का डे बिफोर यस्टरडे का आपका दिल्ली का जो मेन गेट है। कैन यू सी द पीपल nowadays वहाँ बहुत कितना पैसा आ रहा है आमदनी. So many people are going into that India Gate. एक इंडिया गेट दिल्ली का है और ये गांव का है. ये दोनों गांव को देख करके आप बोल सकते हैं डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन रूरल एंड अर्बन. मिला आपको? आपको क्यूआर कोड से मिला? आंसर दीजिए भाई. वहां देखिए कुछ क्वेश्चन आया होगा आपके लिए. आया है? फिल इट अप. अब देख लीजिए. हैव यू स्टार्टेड फिलिंग इट अप? एक दो आंसर तो कीजिए. जस्ट आंसर कर दीजिए. विल कम टू योर आंसर. इट विल बी कमिंग ओवर हियर. सो नाउ आप लोग क्या लिखे हैं पता नहीं. हमने आपको दे दिया है. गांव जो है ये प्रोड्यूसर है. वर्किंग विथ नेचुरल एसेट्स, जनरेट रॉ मटेरियल्स, दे एक्सपेयर्स एक्सटर्नल एक्सपोजर. गांव वाले सब चाहते हैं मैं जाऊंगा, दिल्ली जाऊंगा, बम्बई जाऊंगा, गुवाहाटी जाऊंगा, कलकत्ता जाऊंगा. दे वांट इट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ वेल्थ फॉर बेसिक नीड्स. वो लोग अपना जो बनाते हैं उसके अपने आप में वहां एक सप्लाई चेन है. बेसिक नीड्स. शहर में क्या होता है? दे आर कंज्यूमर्स. वो बिना गांव से वो प्रोड्यूस नहीं होने से आके खा नहीं सकते. दूसरा क्या है? वर्किंग विथ एंथ्रोपोजेनिक एसेट्स. आप नेचुरल एसेट से काम कर रहे हैं. वहां अभी हम लोग का प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने काफी बड़ा मूर्ति बना दिया है, इसीलिए इतना लोग गया है. वो एंथ्रोपोजेनिक एसेट के लिए जाते हैं. देन ट्रांसफॉर्म्स रॉ मटेरियल्स. शहर में क्या करता है? आपका कोट सिलाने वाला दर्जी होता है, शर्ट पैंट बनाने वाला. लेकिन वो गांव का रूरल एरिया में ही वो टेक्सटाइल का मिल है, कपड़ा बनता है. खादी का जहाँ कपड़ा होता है आकर के वहाँ खादी का अच्छा टोपी बनता है दिल्ली में. तो दिस ट्रांसफॉर्म रॉ मटेरियल्स इन द सिटी डिसाइड्स मनी फ्लो एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ गुड्स. वहाँ पैसा का चिंता हमेशा रहता है शहर में, क्योंकि वो लोग तो प्रोड्यूस नहीं करते हैं. ये मनी फ्लो एंड जो हमने बोला आपका ट्रांजेक्शन, गांव में ये ट्रांजेक्शन हमको ले जाना है. देन एक्यूमुलेशन ऑफ वेल्थ फॉर ओन वेलफेयर. गांव में आपका देखते हैं ना, कभी हम लोग बोलते हैं हाउरी, जो किसी का घर में बैल नहीं रहता है, ट्रैक्टर नहीं रहता है, पूरा गांव वाले मिल करके उसको माटी फेंक कर देता है. सिस्टम है या नहीं? चलिए, तो नाउ यू आर फाइंडिंग आउट. आप लोगों ने
One more minute.
अरे छोड़िए सर, हम तो
Do more with less.
चलिए. अच्छा, ओके देन ठीक है. आई विल जस्ट स्क्रॉल माय स्लाइड. आपका रूरल सस्टेनेबिलिटी का जो मेन इशू था, दैट इज सस्टेनेबल एजुकेशनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. आप लोग जो रूरल डेवलपमेंट पढ़ रहा है, यू कैन नोट डाउन दिस थिंग्स. आपका एक टॉपिक के ऊपर आप लोग का फ्यूचर करियर बन सकता है एज ए रूरल मैनेजर्स. तो इसका एक पॉइंट जो है आपका पूरा अपना करियर इसी से बन सकता है या बदल सकता है. आप रूरल सस्टेनेबिलिटी जो है उसमें ये पेंटागन, आपका जो कैपिटल, जो 5 कैपिटल्स का जो ये पेंटागन है, दिस कैन अगेन मेक समवन ऑफ यू प्रोफेसर. बिकॉज ये जो हम बोला कैपिटल, हाउ दिस कैपिटल विल बी हैंडल, दैट इज द मैनेजमेंट. Your rural management, with this capital, it can change. Exactly, you know, physical capital, human capital, financial capital, social capital, and our natural capital. ये pentagon बहुत important है. Can you see? If a society is a tribal village, in a tribal society, they live only with the natural capital. इसीलिए वो pentagon जो है ना, apex आपका एक जगह चले जाते हैं. लेकिन when it is a poor people, they are only on the labor. ओनली ह्यूमन कैपिटल है. तो अगर आपको ये सोसाइटी को हम लोग को रूरल डेवलपमेंट करना है, ये 5 पेंटागन को इक्वली कैसे ब्रेक करके एक्सपांड करते हैं, उसके लिए आपको फिर रिसर्च करना पड़ता है. मेरा ये जस्ट 15 मिनट. Gopi is standing. I cannot discuss on this. So rural sustainability.
This will go on. This is.
I'll now coming over here. So if you want to, you can do a chart with me. That is a Y99 chart. आप पासवर्ड ले लीजिए KP-1. ये वाला आप लोगों को चार्ट करने के लिए दिया. आप ये Y99 चार्ट में चले जाइए, यू यूज डिजिटल वर्ल्ड, आप लोग जितने लोग हैं, अब यहाँ से आप लोग क्या समझ रहे हैं उसको कीजिए, और ये ईमेल फॉर्म मेरा है, आप ये टेक अवे का ले लीजिए इसका, प्लीज राइट डाउन व्हाट एग्जैक्टली यू हैव टेकन फ्रॉम दिस क्लास। हमको गोपी ने स्टॉप कर दिया, मैंने ज्यादा नहीं बोला।
Stop. I cannot stop you. You are the Indra.
चलिए, अच्छा
Kanindra.
ओके, सो आप लोग थोड़ा सा एक दो पॉइंट लिखिए ना उधर। आप लोग तो अभी सवाल पूछिए जो हम आप लोग से सवाल का मैं आंसर दूंगा। तो ये पोस्ट माइनिंग एरिया को हम लोग कैसे ग्रीन कमांडो से बदल देते हैं, इसके बारे में कभी बात करेंगे। नाउ यू क्लिक ऑन द QR code and take your takeaway for discussion amongst your peer groups. एक peer group से we can bring it over here. Now, तो एक किसी ने दिया है motivation to do something different. Very good. Somebody has written it. So like that, whatever you will be writing, I will be getting it later on. Now, I don't know whether it ends or not. हमने कुछ शुरू करने का कोशिश कर रहा था, लेकिन I wanted to talk something different. I have talked something different. लेकिन ये जो food forest है मेरा, this is that Samir Bordoloi. The people like you, they come to that forest. That is our demonstration site of food forest. आप देख सकते हैं भूत जलो क्या जानते हैं? The world's the सबसे टिकी जो है, ये इस forest में, ये 2000 हमने forest से उठा करके ले आए हैं। So there are so many things over here. So if you have got any questions, exactly Gopi wanted me to answer some questions, so I'll answer the
I
question.
think you can send the questions
नहीं, वो मिलेगा नहीं। मुझे भेज देने से हमको
during the break, and please, this is the beginning, because we know that this is area where it can go hours after hours, and it's a very important area. But Professor Pathak has tried to fit in. Main thing is not here to give the solution, it is to influence your thinking. Take back those things and
अच्छा,
how
ये
you can
if you want,
develop that
किसी को ये
area.
चाहिए क्या मेरा ये PowerPoint आपको चाहिए? तो ये जो PowerPoint को यहाँ कॉपी कर दीजिए, आप लोग इसको ले जाइए।
नहीं,
आप इसको ले जा करके
please send that one, it will be placed in the conference website,
जो है वो
and
conference का website
and that
है,
will be
यहाँ से भी
useful.
ले लेंगे।
That's great.
वो साइड में दे देगा,
Yeah.
साइड में देगा, आप यहाँ से भी ले लेंगे, लेकिन आप लोग कुछ पूछिए, नहीं तो
Sure.
ऑर्गेनाइजर बोलेगा ये हम सब बंद किए।
नहीं.
Your question.
Please. Can you please come here? If you ask a question, come here, introduce yourself. This is the process. We are talking about human assets. You are the future leaders. Ask question. It may be hard question. Unless you ask the question, one thing, if you try, things work. If you don't try, difficult. So ask question, you can get the answer. If you don't ask question, no answer. Please.
Hello, my name is Vishwajit Guha from PRM 43, and my question to sir is, I believe talking about tribals, there are a lot of sentiments attached to them, and even incentives don't work there. So how to deal with that and how to develop there over there, like assets and all.
Very good. Exactly.
1 minute
The,
answer.
yes, please. So that is a tribal development. India has got quite a large number of tribal community. Tribal definition is who are exactly maintain a monoculture and monolithic system within them, and then they were earlier as a very close community. Today in India, in the real sense, tribal people are very less. And then because the government of India has taken so much of this, that's why today nobody is ashamed of telling themselves as a tribal. Rather, they feel proud of it. So that when we talk about the tribal development, we'll have to make them to merge with first tribal to tribal, then tribal to the local community, and for that we'll have to First, if you know a tribal community in Africa which has got that their ear is so sharp, even they're just like more than like the dog's ear, they can very distant sound also they can hear. There is a community in Africa. Like that, many tribals, their eyesights are very sharp. So those things will have to be, the talent will have to be taken, and for that, we'll have to create a competitions. Even some of you can form an NGO and you can form that exactly how the tribal sports competitions meets and training. Through that, exactly a money also will go to that community will be developed. There are so many different ways we can work with the tribals.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Any other?
So I think what we'll do, very inspiring talk, and there are lots of things, and I know that I don't know in this area, and these are the experts in those areas. So keep asking the questions, engage during the tea and beyond this, because this is a multidisciplinary area, and all of you can contribute to that one. So should we call it like give a big hand to the outstanding speakers and the audience for asking question, making it engaged. I'll take 1 second. Somebody asked about the human asset. What do you see this one? This is a 200 rupee note. I crush it. What is the value of this one? Still now? 200. I stamp it. What is the value of this one? You are all individually potential. That is our philosophy, that we come from that ancient philosophy. You are equally potential. Nobody can crush. If you believe in yourself, you are the asset. This is number one. But that telling that one will not make it. Realizing that, internalizing that, and practicing that. That is the gap. Can I tell anybody believes that if somebody comes, I'll give this 200 to you? Can anybody come? Thinking, is that real? Can you please come? I want to see. Somebody has that. This is there. It will not come to you. Somebody has to come and take that 200. If you come, anybody, please come here. This is yours. Come in, please. Anybody, any of the students, because some of the people, they think it is not real. Can I request anybody, any volunteer, who will just come, walk up to, it will take a couple of seconds. Believe in that this is a 200 rupees. You come and touch it. Is there anybody who can walk? Come here and take that one. Yes, please. Come in, please. Thank you. Give a big hand. This is the motivation. Opportunities are there. Nothing will happen. Somebody has to come and take that one, grab that one. So keep that note to you. Today's date. You are one of the elite future leaders, those who will take that step, do that one. And when time will come, I may not be there. You remember this 200 is something that you have to do, you have to demonstrate. Give a big hand to him. Please tell what is your name and what motivated you. Please.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Anand, and Anand, yes, sir.
Yes.
And I think I know this example a little. I have seen it somewhere also,
sure.
And it motivated my friends. And motivated me to go and
sure.
Go there, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's right. That's right.
That's good because you have some friends that can push you to the highest.
Sure.
And sir, please can you sign over it so that I can keep it as a memento?
Okay, sure. I'll do that. So sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes people will push it, or you are in a situation, you become the person in the litter. But how you evolve in that, that is the human asset. And it is very intangible. It is difficult once you internalize. Like if you test a mango, somebody who has not tested, going into the Google 10,000 journal papers and conference papers, they will tell. And somebody will tell, oh, it is sweet like molasses. Somebody will tell it is like sugar. Somebody, it smells like jasmine. The person who has tested the mango knows what is the taste. So try to be that one. I'm telling you, it took 10 years for me to understand the problems in the railways, how this wear and fatigue takes. Still, I know I do not know. And I am not afraid to tell that I do not know. So, please, that is very difficult. Try to understand the problem before trying to prescribe the solution. And that is the human asset. Thank you very much. And give a big hand.
And how we have taken back some of the knowledgeable parts of the conference. So for reflecting on and providing a summary of the conference, we invite Dr. Raghuveer Pai to share his reflections of the past 2 days proceedings. Sir, past 3 days proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Yeah. Director of IRMA, Professor Dr. Umakant Dash, Professor H.K. Mishra, the organizing chair of the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management, Professor Gopinath Chattopadhyay from Federation University, who is a co-chair of the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management, Professor Kanindra Pathak, Dean Infrastructure, IIT Kharagpur, and he is also the Vice President of Asset Management Society, India. Professor Syed Islam, who is the DVC Research and Innovation, Federation University. Invited guests, keynote speakers, and dear students of IRMA. It's my pleasant privilege to be here this morning to present before you the deliberations that went on in the last 2 days, and also reflect upon how we went about getting to this stage. And then also, we're not going to stop here. We are also already planned for the next conference. I think Dr. Gopinath Chattopadhyay is going to announce that after this. So I won't be, getting into that. So looking back, we started in March 2022 for this conference, laying the groundwork. So actually, I came here at the invitation of IRMA, and we had a couple of days. We sat with Professor Mishra and his team, and also with the blessings of the director IRMA. So we were able to chart out how we are going to organize this conference. And in most academic institutions, we would certainly have good facilities for presentation, auditorium, and IRMA has excellent facilities for that. Now, we had on the 12th of December, that's Monday last, we had pre-conference workshops. There were 3. Managing water assets for efficiency, sustainability, and equity. Asset management in WASH, that is water, sanitation, and hygiene. The role of women in commons / assets / resource management. and taking case of water management. We also had a panel discussion with two panelists from the Adani Group, Mr. Dharanidharan Gopi Ramesh, and also Mr. Sudeep Mujumdar from L&T. Both are into MRO, maintenance, repairs and operations, and we had an excellent panel discussion with the two of the dignitaries from the industry. Over the last 2 days, we had 13 keynote plus special and guest lectures in various areas of asset management, covering quite a broad range of topics. And the chief guest was Dr. Ann Gibbs for the inaugural from the Asset Management Council Australia. She is the CEO of Asset Management Council Australia. And she spoke about asset management and the sustainable development goals. And then we had 6 tracks of the conference. These are the technical sessions that we had. Track 1 was on asset management and systems, and we had 14 papers in that track that were presented. Track 2, reliability, availability, maintainability and maintenance management. We had 13 papers in that track. Track 3 was safety, engineering and analytics. We had 6 papers in that track. Track 4, socio-economic assets and sustainable development goals. We had 9 papers in that track. Track 5 was digital assets, governance and the sustainable development goals. We had 14 papers in that track. And track 6, we had the rural infrastructure, service and sustainable development goals. 10 papers, and totally we had 66 papers in the 6 tracks. So fairly intense presentations, both online as well as offline, and the question answer sessions, interesting discussions, and on the whole a very fruitful conference, because we had 66 presentations. Apart from that, we did have some of the extended abstracts that will go into the proceedings. Some abstracts were presented, but they will not count as a full paper. So that's about the technical side of the conference. And to get here, we have to work behind the scenes, in the sense that there's a lot of effort that will go into advertising the conference, inviting papers, and the papers being reviewed by, usually it's a blind review, so you have to get the reviewers. All this is a voluntary job, so getting papers to be reviewed by people who are experts in these areas. And also very important is that I think about 24 papers are shortlisted to be published in the IEEE Explore proceedings, which is one of the very reputed proceedings. And 24 papers of the conference out of 66 presented will go into the IEEE proceedings. Now, apart from the technical sessions, which a conference usually would have, but there would be a lot of other things that happen on the sidelines, as well as the main program. One of the highlights of the conference was the entertainment cultural program that we had the day before yesterday, on the 13th evening. So it was a very energetic, well presented, bringing out the cultural aspects of India, a number of folk dances, and also some of the classical performance was there, and finally to top it up with the the nationalistic favor, and it was the climax. So not only that, that's the entertainment part of it, but also we had discussions as to how we would go about organizing the future conferences of the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management. We are also working out an MOU which will be mostly in asset management across the three main organizing institutions, that is Mahe Manipal, IRMA, Gujarat, and Federation University, Australia. Of course, there would be other partners also like IIT Kharagpur, and hopefully others will also join us with this important area, because the significance of asset management is not only being identified with other countries, but in India also slowly the industries are aware that their assets need to be available, and therefore they have to be maintained, and there are a whole lot of issues when it comes to availability, maintainability, and all technologies that are required to do that play an important role. On the lighter side, organizing a conference is like making arrangements for one's daughter's wedding. There will be guests like the Bharat. Arrangements you have to make for stay, that is accommodation, food, transport, and a host of little things that happen on the sites. And sometimes these little things do matter. I'm sure Professor Mishra is smiling there, so he knows what I mean. So I'm not saying a conference is a wedding. It is like a wedding. So you may not have a bridegroom and a bride, but still the arrangements and the little details that you have to pay to is like a wedding. So like, at the end of the wedding, the bride's father will be relieved. Huh? Well, I suppose you won't do that. So, and I'm sure Professor H.K. Mishra, who is the organizing chair, will be quite relieved this evening. I don't think he's going to cry. But, so he'll be relieved of a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, and finally the long bills. Yes. So they'll start coming. So on that note, I think I will end my reflections, and hopefully we all will get an opportunity to meet in the next conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for wonderfully summarizing the ICMIAM 2022. Now, the time has come for the most awaited part of the event, the Best Paper Award. But before that, I would like to congratulate all the delegates for their enthusiastic participation and their efforts. Firstly, I request Dr. Hare Krishna Mishra to introduce the jury of the award.
Good morning, all of you. As has been told, this is a very important activity of this conference. I'm thankful that few volunteers pitched in to constitute the jury. The jury is chaired by Professor Khanindra Pathak from IIT Kharagpur, supported by Dr. Aditya Paridar, who was a retired professor from LTU Sweden, and then Professor Satyendra Pandey. We all know him, so I don't need to introduce our own faculty colleague. I was supervising, but at a very keeping a space distance, but I was overlooking all these so that nothing goes wrong in the entire process. The jury embarked on few screening process, and the jury unanimously said that similarity index should be the judge to filter in or filter out. So plagiarism check was the heavily loaded parameter to select the submissions. Second part was abstracts were taken out of the screening process. Only full papers, those who were submitted, underwent this screening process. So we had 47 entries, and we had that scoring pattern about research content, the way they are presented, the relevance of the subject to the tracks, all were put together by the jury very strenuously. They went through very rigorously, diligently, and I congratulate for their effort. Now I shall invite the Professor Pathak to announce, and also would like to invite our respected director to give out the awards. And there is a cash prize as well for those 3 hours. And I hope CFO might have already done that job for us. He is very prompt. And we are also going to share a transcript. Thank you very much for listening there. Professor Pathak.
So, first of all, I congratulate all those who qualified, because it was very tough to find out that which 3 could be, or how to exactly rank the papers. The ranking was really a difficult task. So I first congratulate all the people who could qualify through that rigorous digital scoring system, similarity index, on the basis of the plagiarism check, and that number, it exactly is the decisive factor in determining the ranking of the papers. So then, while going to the subjective part also, we were making it objective. That is how relevant that was checked, and that was on the basis of the advertised or the theme of our conference. Every track were for a specific field. We found that some of the papers were really very good, but as per the decision, it was to be directly addressing to our declared norms. Also, it was very important in conference papers, the length. It should not be a very big thesis. There were some very good papers. They have done a good research, but the putting them in a summarized paper format, in the proper format which was given, some of the papers, though very good, I think they could have seen a little bit of the attention towards the format, could have been very good. Some of the papers again where the work was very good, discussions were also very nice, but to summarize, to the objectives and the conclusion matching were not there. So that is also which exactly when in such type of tough competition, only by doing a very good research and then giving a very good discussions will not be there, because the communication skill, that is also checked. That means when, in which way we communicate. So, so this, let me tell that the first winner, that is Ravi Velangarge and Gopinath Chattopadhyay and Gyan Karmakar from, there is a, you have written, what is that? Jordar Kamaruzzaman and Lu Zhang. So this is a paper co-authored. The main author, please give a big hand to Ravi Velandage. So the title of the paper was Failure Analysis of Slurry Pump Assets in Refinery for Reduction of Risks and Costs. So on behalf of Ravi Velangare, I think I request Professor Gopinath Chattopadhyay to take the first award, please. Congratulations.
Can I just tell one word?
Okay.
Yes, please.
This is how the professors we are rewarded. The hard work is done by the student. So he is working in the industry, working 12 hours and also did the master's research and just started this PhD. So we get the limelight, but it is you people that you make that thing, and that is so. On behalf of him, we are taking this one, but I share that with all of you. Thank you.
So, the congratulations, Professor Chattopadhyay and his team. Now, second award, that the second prize has gone to Swastika Mishra. Please give a big hand. Swastika Mishra was co-authored by Kshitiz Mishra and Dr. Abhyuday, and the paper title is Comparison of LSCP and Cluster Coverage Model for Emergency Trains Asset Management, US case, Northeastern Railway. So, congratulations, Swastika. Professor Dr. Abhyuday, please. So, Dr. Abhyuday, would you please say a few words for the award, or Swastika, who would like to say? Yes, sir. Please, Abhyuday.
There is a huge possibility for artificial intelligence, machine learning, operation research which can be done on asset management area. And people who are directly working, people who are directly associated with industry, with this type of asset industry, they can do miracle because they can translate the idea of artificial intelligence, how text data can be learned. Data is not coming nowadays in terms of numerical data. Nowadays data is coming in terms of text, in terms of report, in terms of photographs of ECG, photographs of cancer management, etc. So how to and video, and how to read past report by using artificial intelligence, that data, and translate them into making more and more cost-effective solutions. Thank you for listening me. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abhyuday, and we look forward to more contributions of such type of work. Now, my great pleasure to announce the third prize, which is Joe and Larkins. Please give a big hand. This again, Federation University has bagged this third prize. Congratulations, Joe and Larkins, Gopinath Chattopadhyay, and Stephen Morey, the third prize. So again, I request Professor Gopinath Chattopadhyay to take the prize, please. Now, the paper title for this is Developing a Framework for Generating Realistic but Not Real Synthetic Maintenance Records. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Listen, even we did not know these things, and sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, these awards. Once again, the student who was working in the industries, they do not know how to address those problems. It took nearly 2 years for that working. They struggled to even to define how to do those things. So this was a framework, and always it's a multidiscipline. So Joanne Larkins working in the statistics area, and then we are in the engineering side and the management side, and the student was starting the PhD, and there were the family issues. So we really feel for Stephen's family issues, which stopped that research. But something which is real and there is a complex thing, and then you start working on that one, it has raised some of the things like it can be useful for continuation and something can happen. So once again, I'm telling you that sometimes you start something, trying to define the problem, it takes time. And then you may not have the solution immediately, it takes time. So please keep that patience, perseverance, and purity. Don't try to fudge figures, don't try to fit models which, I'm telling you, I was working in the industries, real data. I did not fit any model. What I did, using very crude things in terms of mass functions, and then it went to some people, they told that that's good, that when you found that all these models doesn't work, you did not try to. Something crude, meaningful is better than sophisticated models. So please remember, understanding the problem, finding out something which can be useful. So this is your future. So what I'm telling, that can be just to think about. Thank you, Lord. Okay then, bye.
Thank you, Professor Chattopadhyay. So now exactly the winners in a competition, can anybody tell that why they win? What is the main source behind winning? Anybody? That they are winners because the other competitors. So let us give a big hand to all the other papers, because they are the main who has made this the others to win. So that is where exactly we need to think in terms of that not a single one who did not win the competition, their importance are always higher because they have made somebody to win. So give a big hand to all the participants. Okay. And then my last question, what makes things beautiful? Don't say those who knows the answer. Anybody? What makes things beautiful? From the backside? One word? I don't have a QR code to tell, that's why. If anybody? Yes? Existence of things. Okay, good answer. From that side, every column I will take it one answer. Yes, ladies behind. What makes things beautiful? Anybody? Anything you just think? Because our will have to be a thinker. Because such type of conference that winning of the prizes because of their good thinking. So what makes things beautiful? From second column? Perspective. Very good answer. This column, third column? Efforts. Yes, without efforts, things will not be beautiful. What makes things beautiful? Fourth column? Anybody? What do you think? Eyes. Okay, so is a award winners say it is eyes. Fifth column, you don't say those who have discussed. Fifth column, any answer? Simplicity. Very good answer. This creativity. Very nice. So all these are correct. But what makes things beautiful? Now who knows the answer? Change. And that's why exactly, if you, whether it is a creativity, whether it is sing and whatever it is there, if you cannot change, things do not become beautiful. So that's where, with this competition, awards and this conference, I look forward to bringing some change in our asset management and then rural development. Let us look for it. So what makes things beautiful is bigger, where you please say, we look for change. What makes things beautiful? We look for change. We look for change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for announcing the results and also for the introspective questions. I'm sure the audience has a lot to take back after your sessions. So, for any important and any auspicious event, we look towards the fraternity of the family to motivate the students and everyone who's present. So for that, we request Dr. Umakant Das, Director IRMA, for the closing remarks of ICMIAM 2022. Please, sir.
Announcement of ICMIAM 2022.
Before that, we have Dr. Gopi Chattopadhyay for announcement of ICMIAM 2023, the next set of this conference. Thank you, sir.
Can you please, there is one slide and those videos, please. I need some help. Wow, I think when we started this journey, Professor Harikrishna Mishra told that, come here, we will rock. So thank you very much. At least people are from the different field. They're still here, they're asking questions, they're enjoying. So that is the rock. So all of you are the rock stars. You know, those who are sold from that one, easy. But you are here from different disciplines. You will ask different questions from different angles. And that will make it work. So on behalf of Federation University, I request and welcome you, as many of as possible, to come and tell others to come, because couple of things. Australia, hopefully will organize some cricket. So that is one thing. There are lots of places to watch. There is a small video. Ballarat is a nice place. and we are also like a regional university, so we have some of the similarities, So what is happening here, what is happening there, learning from there and making it better, bigger, change, beautiful, okay? So can I request to play those videos, please? So this is given by Ballarat City Council. So we acknowledge their contribution and they are also welcoming you all. This is only small amount of what you can do, see, feel, and it is very close to Melbourne, within 1 hour driving range, and Melbourne was the most livable city in the world. Please. Yeah, there is gold mine, and also there is mine kept like what used to be. So that is what's saying. I mean, one of the top tourist attractions of Australia. Thank you, Sovereign Hill, and they will be also partner for this one. The tour may be like here, Amul. Most likely, we can see that there can be a tour in that mine. Thank you. Please. All right. So, thank you, everybody. How many of you are interested to come? Yes. Say yes. 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 Give a big hand.
Thank you so much, sir, for announcing the next ICMIAM 2023. As we all know, we are at the verge of the end of remarkable, memorable and a knowledgeable present conference, and at this time I would like to request Dr. Umakant Dash to present closing remarks.
Very good afternoon. Of course, it's a noon time, not after. Of course, the ICMIAM 2022 is finally going to get over in a couple of moments. It's definitely gives a mixed feeling. As Professor Pai told, it's no different from organizing a wedding, but we see it's more than a wedding. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee and the office bearers to give this opportunity to Institute of Rural Management to host the third edition of this international conference. It gave us many things. Takeaways are many. First, if I see from my perspective, a lot of networking. I could able to meet Dr. Syed, I could able to meet Gopinathan, Gurmeet Singh, and Pai. Of course, we had a couple of meetings. Dr. Pathak, Dr. Parida, and so many dignitaries, say so many experts in the field. So it's not only getting to know these people, but definitely a lot of learning about this asset management, how important this asset management and maintenance and intelligence asset, not just asset management. Say it's not only the dimensions we could able to get a chance to listen to different presenters, but how relevant it is for achieving the social development goals. And as an Institute of Rural Management, how we can take or adapt some of the learnings of the say corporate sector, which of course of late or more importance we do give to the corporate sector, but many things are possible in the rural sector, in the cooperative sectors and in the community sector. So I think this is definitely is going to be a good learning takeaway for us for this institute. We will try in many possible ways, or at least we will raise these issues in platform where we get an opportunity that how this asset management or intelligent asset management is going to help improving the efficiency, productivity, and equitable distribution of the asset that we hold, that we own in the households in the rural areas. Even yesterday, I was, I think Dr. Pathak only was giving the example of because we are not managing the asset properly, for example, be it road or be it any infrastructure, how much productivity loss we have to face. Where the resources are constrained, we are not like a well-off country where resources are plenty. Where resources are constrained and limited, how we can optimize using the instrument and the literature that is available in the asset management. So I hope the facilities, the infrastructure, and the arrangement that was made by my colleagues are up to expectation or minimum expectation. I would say it might have exceeded your expectation, but being in a small town and being a small university, we tried our best to provide the minimum facilities to organize this conference. So if there are anything that went wrong, please, I on behalf of the organizing committee, I say sorry to you, and please let us know. Of course, I can't undo those things, but definitely this is going to be used as, we will not say repeat it, or because we are going to organize, this is not the first and the last conference, so that the same mistakes we will not repeat for the subsequent conferences. Because every event, every day teaches us. We learn a lot from the activities that we undertake and what we observe. So I think I must congratulate Professor Misra, because when he last year around this time he told me that should we? I said my heart was saying yes, but my mind was say not sure. So should we or shouldn't we? But looking back, I think the decision that we have taken is not a bad decision at all. So hope again this is an opening for the network that we have discussed in the last 2-3 days, and it's going to be definitely bigger and brighter in coming years. And I congratulate all the presenters. Good to know that there are 6 tracks and 5 workshops, and there were total 60 plus papers that are being presented. Of course, there are winners, but definitely when we come to conferences, the objective is not to win the best papers award, but to interact and to meet people, to learn from each other. Hope I'm sure the presenters and researchers, particularly young researchers, they must have learned a lot from the celebrities in this area, and will network with them to learn more and better, because as Dr. Pathak rightly pointed out, what is beautiful? Change. So we will change ourselves to look more beautiful, and we will change ourselves to organize it in an intelligent manner, so that the 4th edition is going to be, certainly it is happening in a country like Australia, a beautiful country, many of us will get an opportunity to see that places and learn also about the culture and etiquettes of Australia. So before I conclude, I wish you a safe journey back home and Happy New Year, because it's around the corner, maybe another 15-20 days. So we are eagerly waiting for the new year to come. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating words. So as we tread towards the end of the ceremony, we'd like to felicitate all the guest speakers and the keynote speakers for today. So for that, I would request Dr. Umakant Das to provide a bouquet to Dr. Khanendra Pathak as our token of appreciation. Thank you, sir. Now requesting Dr. Hari Krishna Mishra to provide a token of appreciation to Dr. Gopi Chattopadhyay. Requesting sir to also present a token of appreciation to Dr. Raghuveer Pai. And requesting sir to present a token of appreciation to our director sir, Dr. Umakant Das sir. Thank you, sir. Now requesting Dr. Hari Krishna Mishra sir to present the vote of thanks and to formally end the event. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm a little bit feeling emotional to say let us close down. Closing down is very painful. So now that you are all with me, the pain will be distributed. I still remember Dr. Gopi asked me when we said that it should come to IRMA. He asked me a few questions. Can you manage? Do you have enough facility to support us? We are from Australia. Okay. Can you take it to Delhi or Ahmedabad at least? No, sir. He will do it here only. Don't worry. It's because we are so close. I'm thankful that the workshop that you allowed us to conduct in Melbourne fructified to this edition of the conference. I'm thankful to the team that we are so closely knit. Thank you very much for that. As Dr. Das said, whatever you do, my principle is very simple. If you do something, you are prone to do mistakes. If you don't do anything, no mistakes. So we shall take our mistakes to our stride, learn further, and move ahead. And perhaps we'll learn from each other. Third one, sir said, what is beautiful? There has to be a handsome person to see that other is beautiful. So both are supposed to be there to complement each other. Okay, so the committee has asked me to give a vote of thanks. It's a huge responsibility. I hope I can justify. I can make an attempt only. I may fail to name somebody Please forgive me for that. It's not intentional. Everybody did its own to contribute to the success. Whether it is success or not, we can introspect. And we are going to introspect under the leadership of Dr. Das. And we shall see that we do not commit those mistakes again. First of all, let me thank AMC, AMC, Federation University, MAHE, to accept IRMA's proposal to host ICMIAM 2022. Thank you very much, sirs. There are so many who made this conference success. I feel that we are taking back some good memories. And let me thank, and if I don't do that, I will be failing in my duties. To begin with, my staff, officer colleagues, guest workers, service providers who worked tirelessly to support this event. They were in the back end. And they again and again proved how valuable they are for the institute like IRMA. I've got no words to respect their efforts. Let us give them a big hand. The task-based committees were there at IRMA. There are volunteers. I know they were there at the airports late night, even early in the morning to pick up. There are volunteers. Thank you very much for that. I'm so proud of you, that you did your job so nicely. The task-based committees, took up their task to their heart. They completed it. I again say there may be some mistakes, and let us forget that and move forward. To name a few, we entirely hosted the website of the conference in-house, and we own the source code. If the next edition of the conference wants to have it, let it, and we are there to offer you. Let us give them a big hand to the IT team. The logistics, the ETDC, marvelous. They did their work very nicely, and I'm proud of them. And whatever I'm saying is on behalf of the organizing committee, is not that only I'm saying this. I thank the press who covered the event. I hope Shivans have taken care of them very well. I thank faculty colleagues, students who joined and participated in the conference, but for the approvals that came from the director and the dean academic. Otherwise you would not have been here, right? Some of you may not be here. So thank you very much for this patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Now let me come to the conference proceedings. There are some funding agencies, sponsors, just like CSIR, Union Bank, Gopani Power, Sahaj Retail, among others. I thank the chief patron, our chairman, patrons, our director, vice chancellors of FU and MAHE, conveners, co-conveners, track chairs, session chairs, those volunteer at short notice, especially Dr. Das, he is a senior technical director from NIC Bhubaneswar. He unconditionally accepted the track 5 to review, not only review, he tirelessly did a wonderful job for the track 5. Let us give him a big hand. Special thanks to our director. He has been very silent but very firm. He used to take stock of the situations on a daily basis for us. He used to ask me, if I forget, he asked me, what is the status today? Perhaps a leader has the space to ensure that the conference is on time, on track, and we cannot do without a leadership. Thank you very much, sir, for this. I also thank pre-conference workshop chairs, those who came up with good titles, good audience, and they managed their workshops very well. On the same day, there are 5 such workshops. So nice of them. I'm very proud of those type of efforts. Perhaps we can keep this spirit open. I thank IEEE, EG Chair, journal editors, editors-in-chief who are connected with the conference. I think we shall continue to engage with them to see that the papers are published on time. I thank authors who could show interest and participate, who got selected for the best paper awards, those who are shortlisted for the IEEE as well as other journals. I also personally thank Chief Guest Dr. Anand, who was earlier very much keen to join us in person but could not because of health reasons. But she was there, even today she was also there with us. That speaks about the interest and the intent of engaging. I personally thank her, guests of honor, keynote speakers, for their quality engagement and bringing contemporary thoughts to the conference. I am delighted to see around 19 speakers on those 2 days. We received continued support from Federation University, Mahe, LTU Sweden, Huddersfield University UK, UNU Portugal, Laval University Canada, among others, and they have assured us to continue to provide their support for other editions as well. Dr. Gopi gave me a very comprehensive list of names, and he was very kind of to give me that. Perhaps it will be a long list. Thank you very much for preparing this, but I hope I have covered everything in general. I'm sorry I couldn't name all of them, but they are all huge in numbers. So with this, I shall conclude my vote of thanks. Hopefully I have done my job. I could justify my role here. But as I told you, we are closing this conference to begin another. So hopefully we shall succeed in our future endeavors. I am very happy and proud that the conference is emerging as a series. And I was told yesterday that till 2025 or 2026, there are organizations who are looking forward to hosting this conference. I'm thankful to all of them together. Thank you very much for listening to this.
Thank you so much, sir. As I said, end is not exactly an end, but a new beginning. So thank you so much for everyone joining this wonderful valedictory session and making it a big success. Thank you so much. Here we are concluding it and wish you a wonderful and fun-filled day. Thank you so much.